Ed, and we are drinking from the garden hose, and we are having a very special guest. Anthony Phillip will be joining us today to talk about the Daytona 500 and the Bros trip. You remember the first episode where we used a picture other than a regular one. So, guys, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm hanging in there. It's that week in between Christmas and New Year's where you don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
It's quite glorious, if I must say. Uh, I'll tell you what. We are recording here on a Sunday. Ed let me watch the Eagles trounce the Cowboys before making me roping me into doing an episode or two. So I appreciate it. But we got Anthony here. We're gonna talk a little racing. I know he's a NASCAR fan. He likes the cars that just go around in a circle. As I prefer my cars to have some turns as an F1 fan, but we'll have fun with this episode, I'm sure. Anthony, how are you? What do you want to discuss about your American racing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. By the way, OB, it's not just going in circles. There are some tracks like the Daytona road course that actually have some turns. I'd like to put that in there. But yeah, we're just gonna be talking about our experience at the Bros trip and at the time of recording, how we project the Bros trip part 2 in 2025 to go for the 500 part 2.
All right, so Anthony, we have limited time here, so why don't you give everyone an update of what happened on the first trip? But it's got to be really quick. You can't go like day by hour. You just got like big picture. What happened on the first trip, and then why is there a second trip?
So, I mean, it was really fun on the first trip. Essentially, Ed iced me a few times, which is, in case you don't know, is just throwing ice at people. It's kind of funny and interesting. But the reason why we're going for a second time,
Just Ed being a
Wait,
bully.
always
We
gotta
know
say
it is.
something.
Yeah, it's just Ed being a bully. You know, I'm here for you, Anthony. I know how he is. And you're a little smaller than him. Someday you'll be bigger than him, and you can shove the ice right down his back. So keep that in mind. On the back, rubbing it in. Forget throwing. That's for amateurs. But go on.
yeah. So the reason why we're doing a part 2, as I attempted to mention, was because the 2024 Daytona 500 got rained out, and we got like half off our tickets because we didn't use them necessarily. So we're going back again because the tickets were essentially half off, and we figured it'd be fun to try again on Bros Trip Part 2.
So, Anthony, other than getting iced, having ice cubes thrown at you, what was fun about the first trip?
I mean, in general, just hanging out with you, hanging out with the bros, essentially. I enjoyed like the racing aspect too, as always. You enjoyed the Thunderbirds waking you up at 8 a.m. every morning, didn't you?
I hated that part, and Anthony tells me they're going to be there for part 2, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, no, they're there every year.
But
So,
Anthony, is
wait.
it true that the favorite thing you liked about Bros Trip 1 was you got to go to Hooters twice?
No, no.
All right. So we have two questions on that. That's the question. Number one is who are the bros and what are their ages of said bros?
So the bros are my dad, Eric, my brother Hoy, Ed, and me. My dad is 48, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. He's 48.
Okay, good. Thank God I got that right. Hoy is 13 as well as me.
Or were you worried you might get that one wrong?
No.
All right, good.
Ed, I honestly, I'm sorry. And
How old do you think I am?
51.
That's a damn good guess, but I'm 52, so you guessed the
Well,
right
you're
way.
off. I'm fine.
That's right.
I'm fine.
Always guess on the low side. No one to beat you up.
Yeah.
Or ISU in this case.
That's right. So that was one question. Oh, you had a second question?
Yeah. So is the reason you didn't enjoy Hooters because you were there with two old men, or you just not old enough for Hooters yet?
I mean, kind of both.
Understandable. Understandable.
I mean,
Completely.
the only reason I enjoyed it was the food. The food was great. I love the pretzels. I love the mac and cheese. I love the fries. They were great.
We
Okay.
finally found a guy who likes the food at Hooters.
Yes. Well, there's always one in every group. How does since
Same
since
kid, same kid that would read Playboy for the articles, I'm sure.
yeah, that's the one. It's a very well written article. I only get the clean, safe for work edition online, and great writing, very Pulitzer writing.
That's right. Pictures. I'm not into picture books.
No, no.
All right. So Obi, not well, Obi, you got to hear. So Rose trip part two. So if you remember on one of our regular episodes, I talked about this trip.
You
I
did.
talked about how miserable it was because it rained the whole time, right?
Yes, you did.
So you might be asking, why am I going back? So Anthony, why don't you explain why I'm going back for Rose trip two?
Because it's not supposed to rain. Well, so to explain the backstory behind this is the first time we went in 2020, it rained out and got pushed to a Monday. 2022 was fine. We go every other year essentially. And then 2024 was the other year in our cycle that rained out. So now we're hoping to break the curse by going a year earlier and then doing every other year so that it doesn't rain on our time, hopefully.
All right, but remember, I still didn't want to go, but you called me up. You made some concessions. What were those concessions?
It was that we can bring all your luggage down, even though we offered it last time, and you're like, no, no, I'm fine. Now he wants to actually bring the luggage down in our RV. And second is that I offered him my bed for the week. And the reason why I did that was because he was sleeping on the couch that could extend for the time he was there.
And I complained about it the whole time
Yeah.
I was there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I do think you have to offer the old 52-year-old man, who is grumpy at this point, a opportunity to sleep on the good bed. I mean, that is the least you can do. Now, bringing his luggage, I mean, I'd make him bring that luggage on the first class flight he's going to be on, wearing his suit on his first class flight, as we know he does.
For the record, it's only a 737, which does not have first class. For the record, it's not a fancy airline either.
I'm flying one of those cheap airlines where they charge you for everything. They charge you if you ask for a napkin
or a bottle of water,
or a bottle of water, or bring a carry-on,
or to sleep,
or to sleep. Yeah. So the fact that they're going to take my luggage is going to save me a pretty penny.
Gotcha. So will you be wearing a jacket on this flight and a nice sports coat, or will you be wearing something more flight appropriate like the rest of us do?
I'll be wearing something more hillbilly appropriate, so that as soon as I land, I'm like in Daytona mode, if you know what I'm saying.
So does that mean you'll have a hat with a strap back, as opposed, plastic back and plastic in the mesh in the back?
I'll have in a mesh, right?
Yeah.
Trucker hat. You gotta have a trucker hat. You gotta have what else you gotta have? Oh, you gotta have an American flag somewhere on you.
You gotta have the NASCAR shirt or whatever.
Oh yeah, you gotta have your favorite racer, and then
oh, you gotta have beer too.
Yep, you do have to have
well,
beer.
Ed has no problem with that. We got that covered.
But Anthony, there's one other real important concession that you and your father had to make to get me to go back. What else did you guys get that's gonna allow me to be comfortable down there?
I'm guessing it's going to Disney.
No, I'm not going to Disney.
Oh yeah, you're not.
Starlink.
Oh yes, yeah,
internet.
Yeah,
internet and TV. So there's no cell service in this campground.
Yeah, they promised us cell service, and there was none at all for the TVs or phones.
So you're literally cut off from the world. So they got Starlink internet. So I'm gonna still be as if I'm connected to the world, and then a TV that we can stream, so we can watch regular TV while they're in the races, and I'm not. I can watch like real sports, like basketball.
Hey.
Oh, okay. So Anthony, did you have to make these concessions to your uncle because he is douche chill, or is it just because he's your uncle?
Yes.
Yes.
Mostly the fact that he's my uncle, though. Mostly. Also, Ed, the entire time he was down there every morning, he was like, "Oh, I can't get on the internet. I can't check my phone. There's no cell service." And then we were also complaining, and Daytona kind of pushed us get Starlink. And I was like, and I also heard Ed complaining about the bed, as I said earlier, so I offered him that as well. So the mix of half price tickets, offering a bed for Ed, plus bringing down luggage and Starlink kind of swayed him into wanting to come back for Road Trip Part 2.
I am super excited that you are going to take him again. But before we end, I have a question for you. I've noticed that you keep referring him as Ed, which is a-okay. Do you always refer to him as Ed, or do you ever acknowledge that he's your uncle? Because I personally like the fact that he's just Ed, but what goes on over there?
I mean, my entire life I've been just used to calling him Ed. So it's kind of just been like that. I don't call him Uncle Ed unless in very rare occasions I call him Uncle Ed, but mostly it's just Ed.
I gotta say, Ed, I'm pressed and happy that you're not, putting on your sports coat and making him call you the proper name, Uncle Ed. I'm glad you're relaxed around him.
Of course, I'm relaxed. Now, Anthony, do you think it's a problem for somebody to fly with a sports coat on a plane?
No, I mean it like if you're cold that there, it's cold in that climate, it's appropriate to wear a small jacket on there. I mean, not obviously a coat, but like a windbreaker because like you
A
don't know if
windbreaker, Ed.
it's gonna be like you don't know if it's gonna be like cold when you land. You don't know really what the conditions are when you land unless you really thoroughly check. So it's reasonable to have like a windbreaker available.
A
Long as
windbreaker.
If you're coming from New York or Connecticut, it's like it's normal to have like a windbreaker
A
jacket
windbreaker.
on when you get on the flight, and then when you come off the flight, just prepare to change when you get back.
Anthony, you kept saying windbreaker. What about a sports jacket?
Sports jackets aren't they the same thing?
No, sports jacket is what you wear to like maybe a funeral or a wedding or a business meeting or when you're in first class.
In that case, if it's that cheap airline that pays you for everything, and well, it doesn't pay you, you have to pay for everything, then no.
Okay.
All
But
right.
if you're first class on like United, you
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
wear
if
a
it's
sports
business
coat,
or
right?
first, yeah.
You got to, right? You got to wear a sport coat, right?
I mean, if you want to, you can not wear it, but like at the same time, you can wear to because it's first class in business.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
I'm not sure we got a definitive answer from him.
Either do I. Either do I. I think wearing a sports coat on an airplane sucks. The charm is that we suck. I'm Obi. That's Ed. Anthony joined us for this special episode about the Bros trip to Daytona. Catch us next time on Drinking from the Garden Hose.
Hey, hold up, I don't suck.